Hi, everyone. My name is Kesha Ajose Fisher, and I am the author of the book No God Like the Mother. Um, uh, it won the Kenkezi Award this year in fiction. Thank you to the Oregon Book Awards for that, and thanks Literary Arts for having me today. I will be reading from the collection No God Like the Mother. The title story today is Sleep. Sleep. I haven't slept in years. I've forgotten what it's like to lay my head down and be lulled to sleep by the presence of night. I scuffle with the sheets, searching for the perfect cocoon. I hum, I wait, I count sheep. Sleep evades my body until chasing it exhausts me. I stare at the clock, the moon, and the clock again. Even with the sky's slow effort, it gives birth to dawn. I rise out of bed. My bones scream at me, lie back down. I know I must get up. Stretching reminds me that rigor mortis happens only to the dead. But when I hear my children darting down the hall toward my room, I know I'm still alive. The two of them throw themselves at me and press kisses into my skin. We all fall back into my bed. It hurts. My boy crawls on top of me and I catch his elbow between my ribs. It hurts. More than when he pokes my eyes asking if I am awake. The girl is quieter than usual. She sits at the foot of the bed, lost in thought. She knows that Mommy likes hushed mornings. Her greeting is short and without notice, and she leaves the room. I stay there with my boy's limbs wrapped around me. He warms my neck with his breath as I collect the details of his dream. The Legos assembled as soldiers had risen from the pile in a wooden box. They battled with the stuffed animals on his bed and collaborated to take him prisoner. He was strapped to the bedpost by his hands and feet, and he begged for his freedom. I was so scared, Mommy, he says. I ruffle his hair and kiss his cheek. I have bad dreams too. He offers to show me the Lego men still surrounding his bed and then drags me out of my room toward the battlefield where plastic corpses line his floor. The maze of toys and fluff-filled animals do not tell the story of any recent commotion as I see it, but he describes each fighter from his dream with unbridled enthusiasm and intricate detail. See, Mommy? And I got away. I'm glad, love, I say. Get dressed. The school bus will be here soon. I step over a copy of Gulliver's Travels on my way out. I connect my phone to the speakers. The soft music blends with our voices at breakfast. I hand the husband his coffee with more cream than he likes, and he pauses to let his hand grace mine. His embrace is strong enough to break me, though I know he intends the opposite. He stares into my eyes longer than usual. Make it a great day, he says. His blue eyes are surrounded by red, and his lips tremble as he presses them to mine. I nod after the kiss and look away. He tosses those same words over his shoulder again as he walks out of the house. I add whiskey to my mug of coffee, believing no one is looking. My son wags his finger. I wink at him. The first sip is warm and awakens the flow of blood in my veins. I feel again. I step into the pantry with the bottle and swallow 2 more gulps. My bones quiet. I invite the children to dance with me when Saya sings, I don't need dollar bills to have fun tonight. Only my boy enters my ring of excitement. We swing our bodies to the music. After, we climb into our jackets and hike through the moist autumn morning to wait for the school bus. The adults, mostly fathers, huddle with their morning mugs, and I hang mine at my side. The 2 women there ask each other questions about their children, feigning interest with choreographed nods and smiles. I do not engage. The men confer about the copious leaves fallen upon their yards and how raking ate away their weekend. At least you have a quiet house for a few hours to rest, one says to another. A third nods. I'm happy to be kid-free any day. He looks at me quickly, then to the ground. I see my daughter leaning against the trunk of a pine tree. My boy runs circles around her until he falls to his knees. He rises covered in mud, and I step out of the cluster of parents. Now you're all dirty, I say, as I wipe his legs. He fights through the help, and my mug falls near my feet. I look up to see if anyone noticed. I'm relieved to find them engrossed in petting each other's dogs. My son is startled by his mistake, eyeing me nervously. It's okay. We just have to be careful, huh? My daughter nods. He scuttles away from me when the bus appears. Parents wave to their children. I blow kisses. I walk slowly behind the crowd to avoid being pulled into a conversation, especially one that might expose the liquor on my breath. Back inside, the silence is freeing. I belt my apron and begin to tidy up from breakfast. Pieces of pancake are scattered across the floor. My son's milk cup is full. I turn on the television for background noise and begin collecting dishes from the table. I shrug at the topic on Portland's local news and turn to CNN. The anchor has invited a panel to discuss current events. One woman attempts to emphasize her point by shouting at others. I stare at the screen for a few moments and decide I need to sit instead. While my body is alerted I intend to rest, my bones remind me I cannot. It will take 2 pain pills and double the Xanax chased with Jameson to quiet them down. I feel ready to feel better. I sit and wait. This is when my day truly begins. My muscles pull away from my joints and my blood loosens. The aching itches for a way out, and I scratch every inch of skin to help. I lie on the floor and stretch in front of the roaring fireplace until I'm warm through my core. I talk back to the television when an advertisement warns of impending doom should the wrong candidate become president. How can anyone still not see her as the better option, I say, and I compile my disdain into a line for my Facebook page. I crawl over to the coffee table, sit up, and open my laptop. Politics tends to brew anger in people, I know, but I feel awake, certain that my opinion might sway the confused among us. My first thought takes a peaceful approach in hopes of appealing to my like-minded followers, but I'm stirred with fury, blurred by what feels real to only me. I stare at my computer screen. What is on your mind? Facebook asks. At first, I think today is the day I will finally convince John Zemke to change his mind about his politics, but no. I don't want to engage in another online fight, not today. I close my laptop and fight my way up the stairs. I sit in a warm bath until the water turns frigid and my fingertips wrinkle. I air dry on the tiled floor. Rubbing lotion into my limbs steadies the flow of blood inside me, but I know the stiffness will return soon. I head off the pain with one more pill. The air softens, noises abate, and breathing is easy. I should eat, but food will only slow the opiates. I lie back in bed and sink into that place where immense relief eats away time. A couple of hours slip by. I return downstairs and empty the Jameson bottle. I know I must replace it before the husband gets home. He will want to talk about it, among other things. The cashier at the liquor store still cards me, even though I sear my face into her memory each time I come in. A while back, I screamed at her. How many black women live in this neighborhood or even come in here? She had shrugged. Once, I pulled off my beanie to expose the gray braids scattered across my scalp. Another time, I offered to show her my stretch marks. Today, I place my card on the counter next to the bottle and avoid her eyes. She smiles and says, "Thanks, Mrs. Gathers." Beside the counter is a newspaper rack. On the front page of the Oregonian is a picture of my family. I pay for the bottle and walk head down toward the exit. When I look up, the customers are staring at me. "What?" I yell before running to my car. At home, I'm safe inside my silent freedom again. I measure out a cup of whiskey and tuck the bottle inside its slot on the bar. I sit and sip through more journalists arguing. The pictures on the screen move in waves until my family's photos are splattered up there too. I turn it off and close my eyes. I hear the vultures squawking at the front door. I don't feel myself walking, let alone twisting the latch. The noise, the cameras, the bombardment of inquiries force my eyes open. "Mrs. Gathers, K2 News here. How are you faring today?" "Mrs. Gathers, Fox 12, can we talk to you?" "Mrs. Gathers, our condolences on the 2nd anniversary of your..." I slam the door shut and make my way to the couch. I hide inside a throw. The phone rings. It's the husband. "Marley, I'm on my way home." "Don't," I say, but I know the request is futile. He will arrive shortly and smell the drink on me. He will want to talk about it, among other things. I drag through the push and pull of vacuuming and wince in pain as I finish washing the breakfast dishes. The slog up the stairs consumes the rest of my strength. I crawl to a halt outside my boy's bedroom door. I sit in the doorway wondering where to start. It is foggy inside my head again. I curl into a ball. I cannot bring myself to stand. My bones will not unravel. Only my tears move. I hear the front door unlock. The scavengers squeal at the husband too. "Marley," he calls out once he's safely inside. I want him to be anywhere but here. And when he finds me in a fetal position on the floor, he says, "I shouldn't have left you today." "I'm fine." "Marley, you don't look fine." I swipe my hand at him. "Leave me alone." He sits beside me, rubs my shoulder. "Were you watching the news?" I nod. "Politics." He sighs. "I thought we said the television would not come on today and you would ignore the reporters outside." "I didn't talk to them, and I didn't watch TV for that stuff." He lifts my chin. His brow wrinkles to the fragrance wafting from my lips. "It's noon, Mar. I had one drink." "Meds?" "Well, you know I couldn't sleep. Just a couple of..." He stands suddenly, places both hands on his head. "You cannot go on like this. I cannot go on like this." "You can't go on like this?" He cries. "You can't become this zombie." Furious enough to spit, I stand positioned for a fight. "You cannot become this uncaring." His face loses all color, and I know I've struck a nerve. "You have to get better. You just have to. Dr. Grayson said..." "Dr. Grayson wasn't there." "Okay," he says. I can see his ripened frustration. His huffing grows more bizarre. I feel heat emanating from him as he pushes past me into the bedroom. He empties the contents of the laundry basket onto the floor. "What are you doing?" I scream. "Cleaning up. I should have done this long ago." "Do not touch his things. He likes his room like this." "It is not his room." I watch as he shatters the soldiers with his feet, scattering their limbs in pieces. He gathers and pours them into the hamper, entombing them with stuffed animals. Then he jams the copy of Gulliver's Travels inside like a sordid headstone. "Stop it," I shout, and reach for the hamper. We scuttle for it until both of us land on the bed. A heavy maple syrup scent is woven into the sheets. The husband releases the hamper, shoves me off him, and rises with sweat on his brow. His hands rest on his hips, and he stills his breath. I study mine in silence, covered in Legos. I see him pick up a book, the book, my son's favorite book. He bares his teeth, attempting to rip it in two. Defeated by the thick binding or loss of will, he tosses it to the ground. It lands with Gulliver's bound body facing us. The husband stares piteously at me. I can see in his eyes, he knows I'm broken. As I'm restoring the trophies on the shelf, he says, "This isn't us, Mar." I do not take my eyes off my work. Then what is us? What about your daughter? Want her to see you like this? What about your son? Mar, he's gone. Shut up. Mar, he's not here, and I'm scared I'm going to lose you too. I said, stop it. From behind me, his embrace is tight. You're all arms today, I say, before breaking the hold. He begs, please, let's go see Dr. Grayson. No, we booked an appointment for this reason. Come on. So she can tell me I'm crazy? No one thinks you're crazy. My hands go up. He was your son too. Why aren't you angry? I am, but I can't let it wreck me. Please, for the sake of our family, let's go see Dr. Grayson. I continue digging in the hamper and feel the Legos between my fingers. I pull out the tank and place it on the floor. The husband watches as I recreate the battlefield that sends my son running into my bed each morning. He says soothingly, please, Marley, just one visit. I look up and he kneels. His palm cradles my chin. Hey, what's one visit going to do? Waste of time, really. Please? Just one? He nods. I rest my forehead on his chest and sigh. It's nearly 7 in the evening. The sitter arrives shortly after the last of the reporters pack up to leave. I pull myself together and throw on a black dress that the husband finds dour. We drive serenaded by the hum of the engine. I know he thinks of me as shattered or near it. I can feel it in his silence. When he hugs me in the mornings, I feel him checking to see if I'm still whole. I hear it in the way he tiptoes around life, around the truth. Dr. Grayson's office is in a cold room with a gray couch and 2 beanbags like heaps of snow tucked in each corner. The walls are white, covered with her credentials and posters of quotes from true crazies speaking on what is real and what lives in our minds. She is overweight and Caucasian, and she confidently sports a bald spot with thick glasses that transition in too much light. She taps on her clipboard and says in a voice more delicate than I remember, "Welcome." I sit on the couch beside the husband. She smiles at him. It's hard to breathe in this white room of white furnishings and white people. They sit comfortably in their skin and smile at each other as if they hold the remedy for what ails me. I stare at the floor. It's brown like me, wooden like me, trampled on by others like me. Every cell in my body itches to leave. Dr. Grayson messages him with a wink that says, "I'll fix her this time." He winks back. The scene is hysterical. I chuckle. They stare at me piteously. I gaze about the room as they wrap up their small talk. She concludes with how spending the past summer in Ghana had changed her life. The husband nods, smiling as if wholly enthralled by every aspect of her existence. She points to the picture of herself with some children in Accra and says, "They are just the most beautiful kids I've ever seen. They're so happy with so little." I nod. "I like that wooden statue of the woman with a baby on her back," I say. Thanks, she replies. Isn't it cool? I shrug. Have you ever been to Africa? She asks. No interest, I answer. Why, if you don't mind me asking? I just have no interest. I don't know the culture. I don't know that I want to start learning now. I just don't. She nods. That's fair. But it's just so rich and life-changing. I return a nod. What she means is, chimes in the husband, she grew up here in Portland. There was never any reason. What I mean is, I have no interest. I roll my eyes. And you know what else really bothers me? Dr. Grayson sits up. Please. When we're in a restaurant and I look up from my plate to find everyone gawking at us, I feel like a fucking zoo animal with all those eyes leering. I swear. Is it the interracial thing? What are they looking at? And that was way before this thing happened. Now I get eyes following me all around the grocery store, the mall, all over the place. Stupid rubberneckers to my tragedy. Dr. Grayson says, so I find it interesting that you call it your tragedy. Who else does it belong to, I ask. The husband raises his hand. I throw my head back and stare at the ceiling. Marley, don't do that. Do what? Shut me out. Dr. Grayson is silent. He says to her, help me out here, Doc. She straightens her shirt, scoots to the edge of her chair, and dives into the rescue. Open dialogue is best course here, Mrs. Gathers. I face her stiffly. We tried other shrinks, you know. One, a white guy, refused to look at me. Another, a black man, glared at me disapprovingly. My husband wouldn't even consider a black female doctor. She'll just take your side, he said. You, Dr. Grayson, are the closest to good we could get. She shuts her eyes as if I've thrown sand at her face. I'm not sure how to take that. I uncross my arms and sit loose in my skin. She says, let's move on anyhow. I shrug. I'm ready. She asks how I'm doing. I wonder why she does not want to know how we are doing. I'm fine, ask him. He pulls my hand into his lap and begins. I love my wife. The incident is wreaking havoc on her, and I fear I'm going to lose her completely. It's always my fault, I say, leaving my hand where he holds it captive. That is not what I'm saying, Dr. Grayson interjects. What do you think is happening, Mrs. Gathers? I lay my hands in my lap and study the creases on my knuckles. I exhale the breath I feel I've been holding in for 2 years and say, my head is full. Okay, she answers, let's clear some of it up. Well, I begin. The husband kneads my shoulder as if preparing me for a fight in the ring. I move slightly beyond his reach. I want things back the way they used to be. Well, what if you can't have that? The husband asks. Dr. Grayson speaks. Please let her finish. I want a lot of things. I want to rewind time. I want to live in a place where people I consider good friends don't deliver their condolences via text message. I want neighbors who don't act as if my loss is contagious. I want to stop getting misspelled Facebook messages. Sorry for your loss, they say. As if our tragedy is too much of an interruption to their day to fucking proofread. I don't know. I want to have wings to fly out of this room. I want to see the future. My shoulders slump. I want to sleep. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I'll see you soon.